Hello friends, this is CA Rajiv Khandelwal and today we are going to talk about a very important topic which is the QR code. As you are aware that the first phase of e-invoicing in KSA has already begun from 4th of December 2021 and one of the important requirements is the QR code. Now we need to see whether it is required in all invoices or which type of QR code is required. So to tell you about all these things so that you comply with the law properly, I am here with this presentation on the QR code. Before starting the video, I would request you to like and subscribe our YouTube channel, Vector Electrosoft, so that you can get the notification about the latest videos, educational videos that we make from time to time. So today in this presentation we will see the QR code e-invoicing phase 1. What are the requirements? In the first phase, which is the generation phase, QR code is mandatory in simplified tax invoices. It is not mandatory in the tax invoices, but in the second phase, which is the integration phase, we have this QR code mandatory for all the invoices. Now before that, I think you will also like to know what is a QR code. It is a QR code is basically a quick response code, and when we scan it through various mobile apps or different devices, then we are able to read the information which is there. So it is for this purpose. It is something like this. And this is an invoice, a tax invoice, a physical tax invoice for the phase 1. For this we have no change as such. Here only the buyer VAT or TIN number is mandatory, which should be there. Besides that, the QR code is not mandatory for a tax invoice, but if optionally you want to give it, you can give it. But when we talk about the physical simplified tax invoice, there the QR code is a must. Like this, the QR code must be there. And this QR code is to be generated by the taxpayer. Zatka will not provide it. It will be generated by the taxpayer, and this is required both in the physical format of the invoice and the electronic format which you have to save it in. So for a tax invoice it is not required, it's not mandatory, but optionally if you want to give it, you can give it. But for a physical simplified tax invoice, it is a must in the first phase itself. When we come to phase 2, it is mandatory for all the invoices, whether it is a tax invoice or a simplified tax invoice. This QR code is mandatory for all the invoices. And in the second phase, if we talk about the physical invoice, some fields are there which are mandatory in the electronic invoice or the XML format, but it is not required in the physical invoice, like the UUID, the hash and the counter value. These are the technical terms, but they are required in the XML format, but they are not required on the physical invoice. Now the important question comes, what the QR code should contain. So for the first phase, that is from 4th of December 2021, the QR code must contain the seller's name, the VAT number of the seller, timestamp of invoice, that is the date and time, and the fourth item is the invoice total with VAT, and the fifth item is the VAT total in SAR. So all these information is required in the QR code in the first phase. And when we talk about the second phase, then some additional requirements are there, which as you can see on the slide, the hash of the XML invoice, the digital signature and the public key of the digital signature, and also signature of cryptographic stamps public key. Again, some technical things. This is required for the simplified invoice. So these things are required from 1st of January 2023 in the second phase, but items number 1 to 5 are required in the first phase itself. Now this QR code, many of us are able to generate. The systems that we are using, the accounting packages or the ERPs that we are using are able to generate this QR code. But a very important question arises, whether this is the correct format. Is this the format which is prescribed by Zatka, or it is not compliant? So it is very important for us to understand that, because many of us think that we are compliant because a QR code is being generated, but we have to ensure that it is the same QR code which Zatka wants. So this QR code should be in the TLV format. Now what is TLV format? That is the short form for tag, length and value. This is the format. So the seller's name, length should be 12, VAT registration should be 15, timestamp, etc. Even the length of the field is provided and sample values are provided, and this is to be converted into hex code, 64 base. Again, this is too technical and I think we don't need to get into all these details. So let us see what are the commonly done mistakes in our QR code. One is that when you scan the QR code, it takes you to a website. So it is a hyperlink to a website. That's not correct. If the QR code is taking you to a website, that is not correct. That is not as required by Zatka. Another example is the data in the text format. So if you scan the QR code and text like this appears, that the seller's name is Bob Records, the VAT registration number is this, the timestamp is this. If this is appearing, again, it is good for us that we can read it, but this is not how Zatka wants it. Another case, let us see, it contains a hyperlink to an online invoice. It takes you to an online invoice. Even this is not correct. And then another way is where empty or random values like these appear. All these four are not correct. These are not compliant QR codes if they are generating these kind of information. So these are all incorrect representation of QR codes. So the question will arise, so what is how the QR code should appear and which is the correct QR code? So we'll just see that. So a QR code should be something like this. When you scan the QR code, then some jumbled text like this should appear, as you can see on the screen. And just you can even scan this QR code with your mobile, and if there's a mobile scanner in that, you will be able to see some information similar to this. So this jumbled data, if it is coming, so it is an indication that this is the kind of QR code that Zatka requires and it is compliant. Just try and scan it if you want to, and if it is jumbled data like this which is appearing on the screen, then that is the TLV base 64 string and this is the correct representation. So whether it is a PDF file generated by you in the first phase itself, or it is the XML file if you are generating right now, because the Webtel solution can generate the XML files even in this first phase also. So both of them should contain the QR code. So that was some important information about the QR code which I wanted to share with you, particularly for the phase 1 of e-invoice. And as you're aware, Webtel is providing solutions, integration solutions with SAP, Navision and other ERPs, whereby we are doing integration not only for the phase 1, even for we are ready for phase 2 also. So you can definitely get in touch with our team, and the numbers will be provided on the screen. You can contact them on mobile or email IDs, and definitely will help you out in this initiative. Thank you so much. Now we've gone through the presentation and we know quite a bit about the QR code. Now the thing will be, we will be getting various invoices and you'd like to know whether the QR code is correct or not, or what does it contain. So for that we have developed an app for you. Webtel has developed an app for you which you can use to scan the QR code and you can know what information is there. And the link for that for iOS and for Android is there in the description. You can click that and download it on your mobiles so that you can scan the QR code. I hope you've liked this video, and if it is so, then make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel Webtel Electrosoft right now by clicking on the subscribe button for more such videos. Till then, stay happy and stay tuned with us for a better compliance journey. Thank you so much.